Scotty Beckett was a child star of the iconic Our Gang comedy series, better known as The Little Rascals. With his charming smile and mischievous antics, he quickly captured the hearts of audiences worldwide. However, despite his early success, Scotty's life was plagued with personal struggles, leading to a tragic end at the young age of 38. In this video, we will delve into the life and career of Scotty Beckett, exploring his rise to fame, his struggles with addiction and mental health, and the events that led to his untimely death. Join us as we uncover the heartbreaking story of one of Hollywood's most beloved child stars. Scotty Beckett's story began in Oakland on October 4th, 1929, when he was born into a family that would soon move to Los Angeles when he was just 3 years old. While his father was being treated for an illness at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, Scotty would visit him and sing to him. His singing was so captivating that the nurses would often ask him to sing for other patients. One day, a casting director happens to be present during one of Scotty's visits to his father and was immediately impressed with his talent. From there, Scotty was hired to work in Hollywood. He made his debut in 1933 at the young age of 4, starring in the children's film Gallant Lady alongside Dickie Moore. Unfortunately, Scotty's father passed away that same year, leaving him and his family devastated. In 1934, Scotty Beckett landed a role in the German film Die Kleine Troche. He played the best friend and partner of George Spanky McFarlane under his real name. Carl Switzer also took on a similar role as Alfalfa. One of Scotty's trademarks in The Little Rascals was his cricket cap and an oversized, somewhat tattered sweater. Before he left The Little Rascals, Scotty starred in 16 films in the series. After leaving The Little Rascals, Scotty set his sights on a career as a child actor in feature films. He was cast in the adventure film The Treasure of Surat Khan alongside Hollywood legends Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland. Scotty also had the opportunity to work with Cary Grant and Irene Dunne in My Favorite Woman. Scotty proved himself to be a talented actor with a natural charisma that captivated audiences. His performances were praised by critics, and he quickly became a sought-after actor in Hollywood. In 1939, Scotty Beckett made a brief return to The Little Rascals in guest appearance for the films Cousin Wilbur and Dog Days. He played the role of Alfalfa's cousin, Wilbur. 4 years later, in 1943, Scotty played the younger version of the title character in Ali Baba and the 40 Robbers. He then went on to portray the legendary entertainer Al Jolson as a youth in the 1946 biopic The Jazz Singer. Despite the challenges of puberty, Scotty's career continued to flourish when he received critical acclaim for his performances. In addition to his film work, he attended high school in Los Angeles starting in 1943. Scotty also took to the stage, performing in theater plays on Broadway. As Scotty Beckett entered adulthood, he became a popular guest at Hollywood parties, often seen alongside the likes of Roddy McDowall and Elizabeth Taylor. However, his behavior began to spiral out of control. In 1948, he was charged with drunk driving but was able to avoid imprisonment on bail. Unfortunately, Scotty's money from his successful child acting career was quickly squandered. His reckless behavior began to affect his film opportunities, and he soon found himself on a downward spiral towards criminality. In September 1949, Scotty announced his engagement to tennis player Beverly Baker. The two were married just a few days later, on September 28th. However, the marriage was short-lived, and they divorced after only 5 months on February 5, 1950. In 1951, he met actress Sunny Vickers, and their relationship quickly became serious. However, they faced a difficult situation when Vickers became pregnant out of wedlock, which was not accepted in conservative 1950s America. To avoid scandal, the couple married in a hurry on June 27 in 1951 in Phoenix, Arizona. Their son, Scott Hastings Beckett Jr., was born on November 6 of the same year. Unfortunately, Beckett's career had already started to decline by this point. He only appeared in 2 B-movies between 1952 and 1954. In February 1954, things took a turn for the worse. Beckett was suspected of robbery when the Cavalier Hotel in Hollywood was robbed. He was caught with a gun and a knife near the scene of the crime, but the stolen goods were not found on him. Beckett was released on bail, but soon after, he and his family fled to Mexico under the false name of Sean Bullock, hoping to start a new life. Scotty Beckett and his family were arrested in Mexico for check fraud and were extradited to the United States after spending 4 months in prison. Upon returning to the United States, Beckett was put on a 5-year probation. Unfortunately, he was arrested again in Las Vegas in early 1955 for passing counterfeit checks. Beckett's criminal history led to a lack of offers for film roles, prompting him to consider a career change. He began studying medicine, but ultimately decided to return to acting. Despite his past, Beckett was able to secure minor roles in relatively unknown Western films. Scotty Beckett's life took a tragic turn in 1957 when he was caught smuggling drugs across the Mexican-American border. Just a few days later, he divorced his wife Sunny and attempted suicide. 2 years later, in April 1959, Beckett found himself in trouble with the law again, this time for drunk driving. Unfortunately, his reckless behavior behind the wheel resulted in a serious traffic accident that left him injured and dependent on crutches. Scotty Beckett's life continued to be marked by turmoil and trouble. On February 17, 1961, Beckett got married to Margaret C. Sabo. Margaret brought a daughter into the marriage, and they started their new life together. However, their happiness was short-lived. In September 1963, Beckett was arrested again after threatening to shoot his neighbor in an argument. 3 days after the incident, Beckett made his second suicide attempt by cutting open his wrist. Margaret Beckett left him after this, but they did not get divorced. A few weeks later, Beckett got intoxicated with his stepdaughter and became violent when she tried to retrieve her belongings from their shared apartment. The incident not only damaged the relationship between Beckett and his stepdaughter, but also added to his criminal record. It seemed that Beckett's struggles with alcohol, violence, and crime were spiraling out of control. Scotty Beckett checked into the Royal Palms Hotel, a nursing home in Hollywood, on May 8, 1968. Unfortunately, 2 days later, on May 10, 1968, he was found dead in his room. He had been beaten up in the street after a drug deal had gone wrong. The coroner later discovered barbituric acid in his blood. It was determined that he had taken his own life, finally succeeding on his third attempt. Scotty Beckett was just 38 years old at the time of his death. Beckett was buried at the San Fernando Mission Cemetery in Mission Hills, Los Angeles. His untimely death marked the end of a tumultuous life filled with struggles with addiction, legal troubles, and personal problems. Despite his promising start in Hollywood, Beckett's career was cut short, leaving behind a tragic legacy that continues to be remembered by fans and film historians. Goodbye and rest in peace, Little Rascals' Scotty Beckett.